it sucks that this is the way it is right now, especially as an Arsenal fan. But yeah, bro, that's the Prem for you. At second place, I've got my boys Arsenal coming in clutch again. I don't know how close of a race it's going to be at the top, but unfortunately, I don't see Arsenal winning the league as long as Man City stays the juggernaut that they are. Like I said, they've got a lot of money in that club. They can basically get whoever they want, whenever they want, and they've got the best players, they've got the best manager, they've got unlimited Saudi oil money. So, yeah, I think we're gonna get second, and honestly, bro, I hope they make it a close run at the very least. Every single year, Arsenal get better and better and better, and that's because they have a very young core. If you think about it, I think the average age of that club in the starting 11 is like 24, 25, maybe. They've got a really good group of young players, especially just in terms of what's it called? How well-rounded they are. They've got great defense. We've just added Calafiori, who I'm excited to see how he does. Another young defenseman. Great midfield. Guys like Odegaard really, really shine in that midfield. And the attack, bro, I'm really sad they didn't get a number one striker for the team. We could have used a guy like an Ivan Toney or something, or like a Victor Osimhen, who, guys wanting to leave their clubs, maybe go into something a little bit better. But, bro, I don't know. This young squad has impressed me over the last couple of years, and I think they're going to get second again. Number three, I think it's going to be Liverpool. Same top three as last year. I don't really see much changing in that top three. I think Liverpool could have a really, really good bounce back year, though, and maybe end up coming second, but I have them coming third. Salah is just way too good to not, bang a bunch of goals in. I think they've got a really good young players who are could be on the rise very shortly as well. And yeah, Liverpool, another good team who I think is going to come third. Now fourth is where I start to get a little bit spicy with the predictions. In fourth place, returning to Champions League football, I've got Newcastle. Listen, call me dumb, call me stupid all you want. I think they're a team that are on that have proved to be an absolute workforce in the Prem and in Europe. I don't think they have any European football this year, which allows them to really, really focus in on the Prem, and I really think they're going to return to Champions League football, bro. They're a good team with some really, really good players. Isak, Bruno Guimaraes, just great players. Isak, by the way, scored, I think it was like 22 goals last year or something dumb like that. Let me fact check it, but he was like third in the Prem for goal scoring, and he's a baller. They've got some great players on that team, and yeah, man, I've got them coming fourth. I don't know if that's gonna come to fruition. I think that's a little bit one of my more like out there decisions, but the reason I have that is because at the end of the day, the fourth place team this year was Villa. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were in the previous season, just because they have European football, they got Champions League, they've got some other stuff cooking as well. But yeah, I got Newcastle fourth, which leads me to fifth, and that's going to be Manchester United. I feel like with the additions of Mazraoui and De Ligt, they're going to have a much more sound defense on that team. But I don't know, man. I don't see them getting a top four. I think a fifth place seems a little bit more what they're capable of. I think this is a season where they really, really need to return to Champions League football in that top four. Rasmus Højlund, who isn't really a proven striker quite yet. And there's some other players on that team. Bruno Fernandes, not exactly a goal scorer, but a great player in his own right. And I don't know, I just don't trust that attack to be constantly, consistently banging out goals. Jadon Sancho, Alejandro Garnacho, I'm just looking up their squad now. They're really none of them have been proven to be reliable goal scorers quite yet. I think they can turn that around, but I think they're only going to be in 5th place. They really need to return to Champions League football sooner rather than later, because honestly, I like a lot of the players on United, but I just don't think they're making a return to Champions League. In 6th, I've got Tottenham Hotspurs. I think that squad has kind of lost its identity a little bit since Kane has left, and I think they're a good team, but I just don't think they're going to do anything better than 6th. Like I said, they kind of lost like that real true goal scoring threat since Kane left, and although they do still have Son and some other beauties on that team, they did come 5th last year, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that again. They'll be in Europe, they'll have some other competitions they're going to be competing in, and I just think it's going to slip from them. Like a top 5 position might just barely slip from them. In 7th, I've got Aston Villa, which it seems like a massive, massive drop from the previous season. They came 4th in the previous season, but with Champions League football now, it's not something that team is going to be used to competing in. They're going to have Champions League, they're going to have Prem, they're going to have, I think they're in the FA Cup. I could be wrong on that, but even just with Champions League and Prem, they're not a team that is built to compete in both of those. And I think it's going to affect them in the Prem. 7th place is the best I have for them. I just see those top 6 teams above them for sure performing better. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that Villa prediction. In 8th, I've got West Ham. That's a team that usually is in and around 8th place, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher. And I feel like that's another team who might slowly make progressions into trying to push for a 5th, maybe a 4th, maybe a 6th place in the Prem. But at the moment, I only have them coming 8th. They just can't got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which is a really good addition to that team. And you know what? They've got a sneaky squad, which could be good at a moment's notice. So, yeah, West Ham I've got 8th. Next up in 9th, and this is where a lot of people are going to be pissed, I think. I've got Chelsea. That squad is so hard to predict. They could either come 9th, they could come 19th, or they could come 4th. It really depends on the year. They've got a lot of good players. manager's name is because I'm pretty sure he's under threat of his job right now. Nuno Santo. How could I forget my Portuguese brethren? I can't believe I forgot him. Nuno Santo. I think he's under threat of his job right now, and I don't know. Forest doesn't exactly impress me as a squad in general. They have a couple players that I like in terms of potential. Anthony Alanga, Swedish guy, I like him. Emmanuel Dennis, I like that guy as well. But yeah, I think they're gonna go down, bro. I think it's a strong possibility that one of those teams, like a Forest or a Brentford, go down instead of Leicester. Up next, we've got some fun ones. We've got the Golden Boot. Probably gonna be another boring guess, but I think it's gonna be Erling Haaland. It's hard to predict against him playing on the best team with the best manager with the best players. I think, yeah, he's just gonna score a bunch of goals and do Haaland things. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like the Prem right now is kind of like Formula One was like the last few years, where it's the same guy winning all of the races, the same team winning all the games. So yeah, bro, Haaland Golden Boot. This is where I start getting a little bit wacky. Player of the year, I'm saying Bukayo Saka. Mark my words, Bukayo Saka is gonna have an absolutely ridiculous year this year. I think he's on the verge, like, don't get me wrong, he's already an absolute baller, but I think he's on the verge of a screamer. This guy keeps on getting better and better and better, and I think player of the year, it's gonna be my boy Bukayo Saka, okay? It's not even bias. I know a ball, trust me. And then manager of the year, it's gonna be Pep. I think also with him retiring at the end of the year, I think it might just be like a whole sentimental thing, especially if they end up, winning the Prem, winning some of the little trophies as well. It's gonna be Pep. It's gonna be Pep, and that's like, I'm like 99% sure it's gonna be Pep, as long as they win some sort of trophy, which they do every year. Carabao Cup. Now we're getting into the tournaments. Carabao Cup. I have a bit of a rogue shout on this one, and I got West Ham for the Carabao Cup. I don't even know why I predicted them. I just gotta, sometimes when you feel it in your bones, I don't know. Like I said earlier, West Ham has a bit of a sneaky team sometimes, and can really surprise teams right at the gate at times. And so yeah, I don't know. West Ham Carabao Cup. Why not go on, son? Europa League winners. I've got things. Although he hasn't exactly been particularly impressive at PSG last season and maybe the last couple seasons. Bro, I really do think this guy's gonna shine at Madrid. I really do. I just think that front three of Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. is way too good to flop. Plus, don't forget, they've got absolute ballers all around the pitch. Bellingham, Valverde, their defense is ridiculous. They've got Militao, Rudiger, Alaba. It's ridiculous. And then they've got Courtois, who hasn't even been their starter because of injuries. Andre Lunin, that Ukrainian gem of a keeper, is so good. Dude, that team's gonna be way too good to not win the Champions League, and I really do think they're gonna end up winning the trophy at the end of the year. And I don't know, if I was Spanish, or I was a fan of La Liga, I kind of watch games here and there, but maybe it's only like El Clasico, or if there's another big matchup. But I would be a Madrid fan if I was like a avid watcher of La Liga, because I'm a Ronaldo fan. CR7 is my goat, and I believe that's the same case for Mbappe. It was so funny seeing all of the pictures of Ronaldo in that kid's room as a child, and I think now that that guy is at his childhood dream club, he's gonna ball out and win the Champions League with Madrid. So that's my predictions. Let me know if I missed anything. If you want a prediction of something else, maybe I'll leave some more stuff in the comments. If you guys leave some questions in the comments of what I think is who's gonna win what. But yeah, that's gonna do it from me. Let me know what you guys thought of these predictions. Some of them were a bit more outlandish, but some of them I feel like maybe a bit boring, maybe a bit safe. But at the end of the day, that's what football is nowadays. Say